Happy Wisdom Wednesday, if that's what if you're watching it on Wednesday. Mary Meston, Empowered Solutions Group, coming at you with some more information on the importance of pausing, pivoting, and persisting. So for those of you who have been following me, either if you're on YouTube or if you've been following me on the Empowered Solutions Group Facebook page, please go out there, like them, comment, share. We want to hear from you, and definitely give me your input if you want to hear more about something, less about something, or if there's something I'm not covering, please let me know. But let me get back to what I want to cover with you today. And so I've shared with you quite a bit of detail on pause and the importance of pausing, also of pivoting, and then persisting. And all of this is in that scope of, we're now post the pandemic. Well, we aren't. It really depends where you're at and what the situation is. But conceptually, what has happened is it's given everyone the opportunity to do a big reset, going back to what matters. I have innumerable conversations all the time about, well, what I'm doing doesn't really mean a lot to me, or I hate my job, or I want to have a bigger purpose, or I want to have meaning and have it valued, or I want to do something that matters. So those kind of conversations, right? And this really prompted those discussions. So what I want to share with you today, I'm not necessarily going to go deep into pause or deep into pivot or persist, because there's videos on those as well. And those are all pieces of an upcoming program that's going to be available to you shortly, where there's lots of tools and techniques. I want to share with you some client success stories, or give you some examples of, can this work for me? Do these tools work, and how do they work? And show me a real client, and how does this happen? So I wanted to talk about the first, anytime you're resetting, there's an opportunity and a need to pause. And it's one of my biggest coaching moments. Think about it, when you're rushed, you're hectic, you're just in a state of fear, basically. How can you be clear? How can you take a breath? So in pause, we speak a lot about taking a breath, taking time, taking, short vacations. It's anything from even simply counting to 10, thank you, Mel Robbins, or counting to 5, that was Mel Robbins, before reacting so you respond, to taking time, taking months, taking years, if you're allowed to do that. The whole concept here is give yourself a break, time to reset, actually your body chemistry, which that's the importance of meditation and of gratitude, and taking time to pause. And I wanted to share with you a story of a coaching client of mine, a coach that is in the life space. So you would think a life coach has it all together, right? We all do, right? Well, coaches often need coaches. And so I was working with her. And her concern or issue was, life was really coming at her at the time. And she wasn't there to support and hold the space for all her clients. And basically, shorthand, she was in the middle of not a great marriage, children issues, job change, all those things, and unfortunately all of them at once. Well, the high level on this one is, after chatting with her and going through a number of the tools that we do in pause, breathing techniques, journaling techniques to get clear. Actually, I think we did it's a flower diagram about getting clear about who you are, what you're good at, what's your mission, what your purpose is. You really find your sweet spot. And the high level on this for her is that she and her health took a dive. So she actually really did take time. And her intention was to take 3 months. She was in a position where she could do that financially. And I know not all of us are that blessed, but she knew she needed time to clear. And she spent that time changing her pace, her space, and her place. So what do I mean by that? Well, pace, it's obvious. Stop the 9 to 5, the 24/7, or the constant calls and all the errands, whatever that means for you. She changed her pace. She left her job. So she spent a great deal of time doing morning journaling. Julia Cameron talked about artist pages, and really just working to get clear, reading books that were inspirational, looking at old photos to think about the past, finding moments that mattered for her. She actually changed her space. So actually kind of redecorated, rearranged things in her room and office. And I think we all know, particularly those of you that kind of like changing things up a lot, changing your space really can offer a wonderful pause and reset. And she changed her place. Okay, this is a big one. She left the States. She went to Europe. And I'm lovely to share with you now, enjoying a lovely life in Europe, has chosen now, many years later, to resume her career in the coaching mental health space, but in a different location. And so why do I share this with you? I want to share with you that pausing can be as simple as taking a breath before reacting to a comment, an email, a kid screaming, a child pestering you, a husband losing his cool on you, a family member, to actually taking big space, big time, and place. So I want to leave you with those 3 words to help you, as this client did. Think about changing your pace, change your space, change your place. And now this isn't about telling you all to go move off to Europe. Many of us can't, and many of us wouldn't want to. But this is about just being really conscious about yourself and put yourself first. And I want to tell you that those tools really did work. So I hope that gives you some other ideas on pausing. Pausing is simple as saying no to something you'd normally say yes. So it can be simple. It doesn't have to be big. And what I encourage you, and you're going to hear it in through a lot of what I discuss, consistency is key. Repeat just to a little bit. And over a year, it's 365 things. 1% a day, 365. Think about it. In the weight loss journey, you don't lose all 50 pounds overnight, unless there's major surgery and body part loss, right? So it is in that consistency and that persistence, and we'll talk about that a little later. So that's a pause. So I want to share with you a case example of pivoting. And in pivoting, we talk about this resetting and wanting to get to what matters is, am I doing the right thing? And often, circumstances led us to where we're at, and maybe it wasn't choice. And if given the opportunity with pausing and reflecting, you're going to want to make some active choices. And, we talked about how the flower diagram and getting clear on what people will pay for, what I want to do, where could I make money, those kind of things, what's important. And we talk about that. In pivoting, which is really about getting clear and then setting your path, I think I shared with you this prior tools of important, let me get to it, prioritization of what matters. Use that prioritization grid. We talked about looking at it with the end in mind. Where do I want to be in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? Not necessarily just tomorrow. So it's kind of that long-term vision. The other was that mind map, but I think you all have seen it. This is a wonderful example on the web. The importance of mind mapping. And so in pivot, we start with, let's think divergently. Let's not think linearly. Let's don't think how. Let's think what's possible. And it's all possible. And in the mind mapping technique, it's really, just let your mind wander, particularly for those of you that are inclined to be kinesthetic or like to draw. This is a wonderful tool. And it's colorful as well. I encourage you to get out your markers, pens, paints, and work on just what is possible and follow the tangents in your mind. What this does for you, a couple of things. It gets it down on paper, right? So it captures it so you don't lose it, so you don't say, oh, I need to remember that. And it also is a wonderful illustration so you can look to the outer reaches, because as I mentioned before, the goal is 1 to 2 to 3 steps out from the center. So I wanted to just give you a quick snapshot of a client that used a number of these techniques. I worked with her to actually pivot. And this, you can't really see all that well because this is a fax scan of a picture, because I do work virtually. But this is just a piece of her mind map. So she started mind mapping and then actually started pulling a page here and pulling a page here and taking a page here. But I want to show you, say that this really does work. It doesn't have to be beautiful. Yes, you can cross things out. and it worked. So the story, lovely person, probably 8 years into her career, a mom of 2, and was, I'm okay in my career, but I'm not fulfilled. And she's like, I don't know if I should change my job, change my company, just not do anything. So she's very much in that, I call it confusion, as well as, it wasn't even frustration. So many would say, what's your problem? Yeah, you got it going well. If it's not broke, don't break it. Well, actually, she had the foresight to realize it wasn't her calling, and it was shortly going to come up that this wasn't a fulfilling role. And of course, I'm not going to share a lot of detail because there is confidentiality involved. But understand that she really knew for her to continue to give her best, she needed to go to a place that was more in alignment with herself. So the high level on this pivot was she shifted roles a little bit, actually moved up in the ranks, got a better paying role, a better acknowledging role. And she also shifted industry slightly in companies. So pivot, as we've talked about, doesn't necessarily have to be baby. I think plan, and we just get totally frustrated. Some people go, oh, heck with this. And you pull the 180, quit the job. Run out on a friendship. All of those really kind of sudden and bold moves. A pivot can be as simple as just a tweak to a 45 to 90. And with her pivot, it was probably slight to medium. And through this process of mind mapping, talking about the end in mind, and talking about success assessment, where we looked at where she wanted to be and how likely was that going to be. And this really looks at limiters and support systems that get you there. She was able to define that what was most important to her were location for her children, as well as what she did each day, and not so much about industry and company, but she did also know that it needed to ring truer to her heart. And through these processes, we developed what those priorities got clear on that. If you want everything, I want location and name and job and restaurants in the building, and my kid looks like, and their pay looks like, and my compensation and benefits look like. It just got very confounding. So we had to prioritize. So this is a net result of this. It did take 6 to 7 sessions, which is what I actually offer to my VIP clients, where we really truly work to your specific plan. Was we identified the top 20 firms and or types of organizations that would offer the role she wanted. With a little research, identified the key players, and within 3 interviews, she found the job she wanted, actually even created it because of the reach out, and made a really quick transfer. She has more time with her children. She has a supportive organization. She's doing things that really matter to her, and she's actually getting to grow in her career. So what had been 2 to 3 years of unsettledness, not knowing, this just isn't quite right, I should probably shut up, it's all great. In the matter of 3 months, she had moved to her ideal role for herself, and it gave her all of her top 8, top 10 items. So that's how pivot can work for you. And now the third component of this is persisting. So we've talked about the importance of getting clear, giving yourself space, so you can then decide what that journey looks like for you, which in the pivot, we defined it, and she made some choices, and she went on the quest. Well, persisting, let me give you information on a client on persisting. And this is a very senior executive in a firm, and I won't name the firm. And this person was in a very senior role, but was at the position of needing to lead some key efforts via influence, not via position. I think we all know positional control. If someone can cause or impact your hiring, your firing, or your pay, they have positional power over you, right? And that's not the best way to lead, but And the great thing for her is that she learned how to, without position, influence great success for her and her team. So that's kind of that high level on pivot. So she went from without position, only outside influence, to keenly launching a key initiative that has been awarded top 2 in the world. And it's through using the concepts I share with you. In Persist, we've talked about courage, and courage and confidence is that loop. If I can find that here. If I can't, I apologize. I can't find it. I will go back and look at the persistence video. You'll see it. We worked on courage, we worked on influence, and we worked on productivity. And again, productivity is not more, it can be less. You know, it's working on 20% that gives you 80% return. So a little more specific on her if you're curious. It wasn't necessarily an easy challenge, and it was about an 18-month quest. Some of that is because when you're influencing and you don't have to control, and you have a big project, it takes time. But through these particular tools and techniques and talking about what is the essence of courage, what might be your fears, what's holding you back, we developed and built her confidence such that she became more influential. She learned the model I have influence. It's kind of, I know, I'm going to have these formally done for the program, so don't worry. But this model is basically a simple tricorder model. And it's about ways in which we influence people. We either model behavior for them, we help with their mindset so they think differently, or we engage with their emotions and their feelings, and we basically challenge them. So let's talk a little bit about that, how that worked. Well, with her particular client set, very technical. She's in a very technical space. You can imagine thinking differently, give me data, I'm all over that. So there was a lot of data provided, analysis, and modeling of the behavior. She actually had to begin to speak to about her behavior and what she was modeling because they weren't kind of picking it up, and that she helped become a great example and is now lauded by the group as an example of behavior. And then challenge, that was getting to the feelings. That's the biggest one and often the most challenging, is understanding others' motivations so that you can influence the greatness of all. So now she has successfully led a project, number 2 in the world. She did it without any direct power, and she persisted. And the whole concept of persisting is, we're talking about now that you've decided your journey, you've reset for whatever reason, you've reset, you've paused, you've chosen your pivot, and you know what? You don't even have to pivot. You could be staying on that same plan when you came in to pause, and maybe you just learned how to do something a little differently. And then persisting is staying true to that path and learning new tools and actually measuring and getting that success. She did it, and she's lauded for it, and I am so glad to share those stories with you. I have so many others. If you're interested in other stories, if it's going to work for you, I have lots of blogs out there. Encourage, go to empoweredsolutionsgroup.com or under my name, Mary Meston. Lots of blogs, lots of information, lots of articles. And as always, you can reach out on social media to get to me. And I want to let you know that the Pause, Pivot, Persist program, which hopefully I have the snapshot here. Do I? I don't know. I'm just so bad, aren't I? I don't have it in front of me. Oh, you shouldn't do that. That's mindset. You're judging yourself, and I shouldn't have done that. You hear it? I've said should. Have you watched my mindset series? That's one of the words we don't use, or we shouldn't use, right? Anyway, so the big reset, the program that's coming to you is the early folks in. I'm going to get the first 10 folks, some private one-on-one with me as a bonus of being jump over any of the hesitations. Look for the announcement, the Facebook page on YouTube, the other videos, and I will encourage you to be one of the early on ins. This really does sell out and sell out pretty quickly, so I may expand to another group. It is actually a series of 6 sessions, and for the early honors, we're going to do some one-on-one so that you'll get real personal attention, and actually it'll all become a video course. So if you just want to do it by yourself, that it will also be possible. So it'll be like good 4, but there'll be 3 price points depending on how much you want done with you and for you. So I look forward to seeing you in the class. I look forward to you signing up. And as always, please comment, ask questions, ask for more information. Please share, because I'm certain every one of you knows someone that is either in personal life or career in overwhelm and confusion. And actually, you know, it may not be critical for them, but you're looking for more, wondering. So please refer them, share this information, and I look forward to helping you and all the people you refer and everyone you share it with, because we're here and I'm here to empower your best you.